Donald Trump can barely get through a sentence, and that would be a great thing if he wasn't trying, if he would just shut up and go away. Sure, I'd say fantastic. But the problem is, both for our ears and Donald Trump's political standing, he's trying to get through those sentences. He's slurring, he's struggling, he's abruptly stopping, and it's what we saw today at an event with coal miners at the White House, Donald Trump's second favorite miners, that is, in which Donald Trump just struggled, showing how impotent he is in so many different ways, both politically and, of course, cognitively and physically. This is a man seeing his approval rating collapse even further as his own party turns against him and his economic woes only get worse and worse. And it's why Donald Trump tried to spend time talking about the economy, but ultimately he just made himself look sad and decrepit as he eventually was glitching out, struggling to speak. But it starts with one of Donald Trump's favorite lies: the price of gas.
Down, you see what's happening even with gasoline. I was in Iowa last week, and it was $1.85 a gallon, and many of them are $1.99 and $1.91. I saw we have them under $2 a gallon now. A little while ago, just a year and a half ago, they were at $3.50, $4, $4.50. In California, $7 because of the crazy taxes.
So gas in Iowa is actually around $2.50, $2.57. And at this point, that's kind of just like, that's just kind of what it is. Donald Trump's going to lie about the price of gas. If we threw a fit every time he did, we would be here forever. I know we should always call out his lies, but this is just baked in to the Trump speech. He's going to lie about the price of goods. He's going to lie about the price of gas. It is what it is. But why is Donald Trump focused so much on energy? Why is this what Donald Trump cares about most? Well, it's because he's, one, at an event with coal miners, but two, trying to pretend that there's a way out of this economy. The original lie that Donald Trump told about how prices were going to get so low was getting energy costs down. He said that energy costs would plummet and everything would get cheaper because of that. Now, that's not a real economic theory. It doesn't make sense in practice. It wasn't going to happen even if energy costs were negligible, but they're not. But it is something Donald Trump can continue to push down the road. Another 2 weeks away from us to say, if we just get energy lower, we'll be fine. At the same time as Donald Trump is canceling green energy projects. So I think we're going to have less energy, no matter how much he rambles about Thomas Edison.
Just as clean. As some of you may know, today, February 11th, is Thomas Edison's birthday. There could be no better way to honor the legacy of the man who lit the world. Did you know that? The man who lit the world, Isaac. Do you know that? You ever hear of Thomas Edison? A little before your time, slightly.
Quite frankly, do you know who that is? He was a great guy. It says on this script, it says great guys say he was a great guy in light bulbs. Don't we love the light bulbs? They look like, well, I'm not going to say what they look like because I would get in hot water for that. This is our president still sounding like an imbecile. And I think, honestly, his handlers, Stephen Miller, they wrote him up this speech to be like, let's maybe let Donald have a little fun. Let's let him say some dumb stuff, talk about coal. Maybe that'll get him excited. But obviously, they are worried about the economic perception, and they don't believe they can send Donald Trump out on the road to fix it. Remember, right after that Susie Wow story came out, what was it, Vanity Fair? She decided, all right, things aren't going well at this White House. Let's get him out on the road talking about the economy. And then they pulled that back when they saw what Donald Trump talking about the economy sounded like. Even when he's touting good numbers, it doesn't come off well.
Very importantly, 50,000 yesterday. 50,000 we broke on the Dow. And if you remember, when I won, they said if he could ever produce 50,000 by the end of his fourth term, by the end of his fourth year.
So Donald Trump slowly starting to fall apart a little bit. Obviously, a little slip up there. Not as bad as the glitch out that we're going to get to. But when Donald Trump is talking about the Dow, I think it kind of reflects something at the heart of the economic policy of this administration, which is help the rich. Regular working people are not seeing huge explosions in their, household income or the household valuation of all of their assets with the stock market going up. This is just not how it works. It's not a huge boost to the everyday working person. But Donald Trump doesn't care about them. He cares about his tech oligarchs, his elites, people with millions and millions of dollars, billions and billions of dollars. That's who he wants to help. That is what he's focused on. And he's also focused on them making him feel so good, which is why he got a trophy before he glitched out. So Donald Trump spent a bunch of time talking about how he's helping a bunch of rich people. Thomas Edison, he got a trophy. You'd call that a pretty good day for Donald Trump. That makes him pretty happy. But he couldn't stop there. He had to talk a little bit more and ended up glitching out. Journalist Aaron Rupar writes, Trump glitches out, and as we'll see, he kind of doesn't really say any word there. Yeah, it's a big glitch from Trump.
Than me, and I'm proud to officially name the undisputed, when did this come out, Mr. Speaker? The undisputed champion of,
Spurdy-Berg. He sounds like the Swedish chef. Spurdy-Berg, Skirty-Dirty-Berg. He's unintelligible. He can't get through more than 5 minutes. And by the way, when this little event wrapped up, when Donald Trump was done getting his trophy and talking about historical figures that he doesn't know more than one fact about that was already pre-written for him, he just left. He took no questions, not about Epstein, not about shutting down airspace, not about the economy, because Donald Trump is weak. If there is one thing that he is, it is weak in so many different ways. I think at this point, his handlers, this White House, even Donald Trump is starting to reckon with that fact. We saw maybe the biggest blow towards Donald Trump's term happened last night in the House of Representatives around midnight, when 3 Republicans broke with their party and broke with Mike Johnson to allow Democrats to vote, to bring votes to the floor of the House on striking down Donald Trump's tariffs. Now, that's important for several different reasons. And of course, I do want to talk more about Donald Trump's struggles when it comes to speaking and his broader cognitive decline. But I think we got to start here when we're looking at a broader overview of Donald Trump's weakness. Why that is so important, at least to me, that vote happened, is twofold. The first, tariffs are Donald Trump's superpower. Now, not to do anything good, and it certainly doesn't make him, well, it does make him stronger, but it doesn't mean he's strong. Tariffs are his superpower towards corruption, right? That is the tool that he has used whenever he wants, when he gets his feelings hurt by a commercial, or, Switzerland isn't sending him, whatever Rolex model he wants, or something stupid like that. Donald Trump calls in the tariff brigade. And to take that power away from Donald Trump takes away his ability to inflict maximum pain on anyone who is his political foe or a world leader who he thinks he can extract some value for his businesses out of, right? Remember when the prime minister of Indonesia went up to Donald Trump and was like, oh, I really need to talk to Eric and Don, and then maybe we can figure this tariff stuff out, and it got caught on that hot mic. Remember that? That is how Donald Trump uses tariffs. The other important reason why this reflects Donald Trump's political impotence, at least, to me, and I think to many people observing what's happening in the House right now, is because Mike Johnson can no longer block votes from coming to the floor. Because that's what that vote was about. It wasn't about tariffs. It was a procedural vote so Mike Johnson could block votes on tariffs. That's what took place last night. Thomas Massie said no. Kevin Wiley said no. Don Bacon said no. He said, let's have these votes on the floor of the House. And why that is so bad for Donald Trump? It's because one of two things is going to happen. Republicans in difficult districts, or Republicans who are seeing their districts pummeled by the cost that is these tariffs, are going to vote against him and make him look stupid and admit the central economic policy that Donald Trump has been carrying out. And I think calling it economic policy is not actually the correct descriptor. Like, it's Donald Trump's wild, manic attacks on the American consumer is what tariffs are. But a vote against that is a rebuke of Donald Trump's central policy focus. Policy. On the other hand, Republicans can vote in favor of it out of fear that Donald Trump will attack them on Truth Social and bear the burden of campaign ads being run against them saying the average consumer is paying $3,500 more a year because of Donald Trump's tariffs. Business is fleeing the United States, 65,000 manufacturing jobs gone, and you voted for that? I would go ahead and say that's probably not a great look out on the campaign trail. You don't want that full endorsement of the worst decisions Donald Trump makes as the thing kind of like trailing your campaign. I wouldn't say that that's the really smart play. And so that's what Republicans have to face down. Either they break with Donald Trump and fully rebuke him and show how weak he is, or weaken themselves and get us closer to the most just like fucking historic wipeout of a Republican House majority that we have ever seen. Because that's what we can get. Again, it's going to require Democrats to step up and do a little pre-planning and make sure that we actually can go to the polls and there's not an ICE agent at every ballot box Maybe Hakeem, Chuck, start working away on that. But that's what we're looking at. Donald Trump's central policy being fully rebuked. A fight that he will have to take on and ultimately lose and show how weak he is once again. But that is the state of Donald Trump's economy. That is the state of Donald Trump's political standing. It's not good. And it's only getting worse, as Rachel Maddow broke down, as his economic policy, again, if you can even call it that, gets worse too.
Because in February, you not only usually get the jobs numbers for the previous month, for January, but also February is particularly important because it's in February when you also are supposed to get the updated numbers, the updated jobs numbers from the whole previous calendar year. So in our case, we're waiting for the updated numbers, the refined numbers for all of 2025, plus the official numbers from January. And we're waiting for it. We're now into the second week of February, and the White House still hasn't released that stuff. The only numbers we've got so far for January, those ones I just described, those are from estimates from private companies. I mean, it's sort of the best that we've got. We got to make do with that now until we get the official data. Well, they are finally saying that the official data, the official January data and the refined numbers for all of 2025, they are finally going to be released this Wednesday, February 11th. And who knows what that release will say. We'll see when it comes out. But I will tell you this. It's almost like the White House knows in advance that it's not going to be good news. And the reason I say that is because this was the official press release out of the White House today. Headline, "Don't be a panikin." Don't be a panikin. That is neither a fast food style sandwich chain nor a bird that stores fish in its beak that you can often find on docks in Florida. No, it's a panikin. What's that? Don't be a panikin. We're winning and we're not slowing down. After that weird headline, there's this whole rambling screed about how the stock market is amazing. And so don't worry about anything else you might hear about having to do with the economy. Don't listen to what anybody else might say about anything else. Just relax. Don't panic. Quote, don't be a panikin. Panikin, of course, is not a word. It is something that Donald Trump made up on social media a year ago, so now we have to pretend that it's a word. Now we stamp it on official White House letterhead. Don't be a panikin. Does that make you feel like not panicking? Fresh economic data due first thing Wednesday morning. Watch this space.
He is looking weaker. He is becoming politically weaker. His polling is terrible. The economy is struggling. Donald Trump has nothing to talk about and an inability to speak. That is what he is staring down right now. And that is why we need to make sure that people are paying attention to it all the time. It is why we just launched Shift Media, a new channel that you can subscribe to by clicking right here. And you can watch one of our latest videos of Jasmine Crockett just ripping into Pam Bondi right here, because we need to shift our politics. And that starts with shifting our media and shifting our algorithms online. It's why we started the channel. Subscribing, supporting, and sharing is the best way for you to help us do so. So keep on fighting, y'all. Please do. Show a little love to Shift. We're going to grow it into something big, and it's incredibly important right now. But keep on fighting. Don't let them silence you. And until next time, I'll see you soon.